Professor Tondo, Claudio, good to see you. Good morning.
Good morning, welcome. This is the number one heart rate center in Italy and probably one of the largest in Europe. If I, look back and I can transfer, what the experience taught me, that for patients with a true paroxysmal atrial fibrillation, cryo maintains its role. Really fan of the Inter Milan team, but right now I must say I'm, the cardiologist of the team. To treat a very young, patient with atrial fibrillation, regardless, men or women, usually I would pick up, cryo because it's, fast, easy.
Benvenuti al programma Stay Cool Podcast. Welcome to the Stay Cool Podcast. I'm Prof. Meyer, Director Medical Affairs at Medtronic Cardiac Ablation Solutions. This podcast is about people sharing their dedication to electrophysiology and catheter ablation. Today we are in Milan and we are going to meet Professor Claudio Tondo from the Cardiologico Monzino. He's quite an early bird. It's 6 o'clock in the morning and we are going to meet him at the gym now. Let's go over it. Just getting ready for this. Now, Professor Tondo, Claudio, good to see you. Good morning.
Good morning, welcome.
I've been running already through Milan the whole morning.
Oh, really?
Such early in the morning.
Very early.
This is a fantastic place.
Yes, it is.
So I'm going to join you.
Yeah, please take it to your seat.
So Claudia, how often do you come here?
Oh, just 3 times a week, every other day. Yes, the only time that I can be with myself, just focus, on my day.
And how do you integrate it into your work though? That's why you're here so early in the morning?
Well, the only time that, I can get to the gym because I get home usually very late, in the evening, 9 p.m. So the only time that I have. So this is, why I, got really early in the morning, 5 a.m., but I'm used to.
Yeah, I've heard that you have a lot of AF patients waiting for you at the hospital today. So I think we need to move to the next station.
Absolutely.
Let's go to the hospital.
Yeah, absolutely, yes. I think that we are done and we need just to be, focused on my patients in the hospital.
So how far is it to go to the hospital now?
Oh, just 15 minutes by car.
And what about the traffic? Is it very busy in the street this time?
Well, in early morning, not really.
Yeah. So Claudio, the Cardiologico Monzino, as I've read, is one of the first hospitals in Europe that is dedicated to cardiovascular care.
Oh yes, this is the number one heart rate center in Italy and probably one of the largest in Europe. Completely devoted to cardiac disease.
And then I read that it has a department especially for women's heart research and care.
Yeah, this is was founded some years ago because we became aware that there is really a difference between men and women, and so we started just research on women's heart disease, and I think that's quite unique in the world and not just in Italy. So
you're also doing research here?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, that's great. Let's go in. Claudia, I've been doing a bit of research, and you know what I found? I found a first oral presentation in 1996 at the ACC in Orlando.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Do you remember that?
Right now, I do remember. I mean, just this was one of my first presentations in a big meeting. And this was really a good, hot topic at that time, the atrial ventricular, nodal reentrant tachycardia. And I do remember because the data, coming from research concerning the reentrant circuit confined at the left side and not at the right side. Well, I can add that was a wonderful time, when I was in Oklahoma and the other, places, because, be there was, meant a lot, to me because I had the chance to meet, several people, several fellows, and big names in electrophysiology at that time. It was really a turning point of my life, professionally speaking. So if I, look back and I can transfer, what the experience taught me, is the fact that you need just to meet people, you need to exchange experiences, not just virtually. So if I were a young EP right now, absolutely, I like just to be, in one of the big EP labs in the world, and having my own experience, and maybe just back at my own country.
Was this a time where you decided to go into clinical research?
Yes, it was the time, and I think that I was really fortunate because I had the chance to work in the animal lab and the clinical lab as well. And I had wonderful mentors at that time, and this, I think, gave me a lot. And I learned how to design the study, how just to do the research, not only in experimental setting, but also in the clinic.
I did a bit of due diligence here, of course, and I found two numbers. One number is 438, and the other number is 16,310. So does this number say anything to you?
I presume the first one refers to my publications. I don't know about the others. I mean, just and more or less, yes, this is number of my publications so far.
Yeah, exactly. So it's indeed you have more than 400 publications and more than 16,000 citations. How did the research focus change over the last couple of years? So you started with AVNLTs.
I started with a nodal-oriented tachycardia because at that time was the main target for a catheter ablation, and at that time it really and truly didn't exist ablation of atrial fibrillation. And then things changed over the last 2-3 decades, and now my focus is on atrial fibrillation mainly, even though I obviously take care of any kind of arrhythmia, but then things changed over time, and now the main focus on atrial fibrillation and obviously ablation of atrial fibrillation.
Yeah, and you have been involved in the big landmark trials, randomized clinical trials, but also in real-world data or generating real-world data. What is more important? Is it more important to run randomized clinical trials, or is it really needed to have also registry data?
I think we needed both. The randomized clinical trial, and I think the Fahrenheit, randomized clinical trial was the largest, randomized trial concerning the comparison between cryo and RF. And I must say that it was the cornerstone for cryo because I changed the guideline, and therefore cryo, at that time became really the other energy source for pulmonary vein isolation in patients with atrial fibrillation. But at the same time, we need data, robust data from the real world, and I'm really proud just to be involved in one-stop project, which is a national registry in Italy, comprising more than 45 centers, and we have collected so far almost 10,000 patients treated with the cryo. So this is really a big source of data, And we were able just to produce more than 20 publications in the last 10, 15 years. And I think this is really a strong contribution to the international literature concerning the use of cryo for patients with a pulmonary vein isolation.
Given your strong also research background on cryoballoon ablation, how do you decide today which patients are going to be treated with cryoballoon ablation or which patients are going to be treated with pulse field ablation?
Well, I expected to have this question from you, Ralph, and that's a very hot topic. But if you look at the data so far, I mean, just the success rate of cryo is really comparable with the PFA, at least in the acute and the midterm. I do really think that for patients with a true paroxysmal atrial fibrillation, cryo, maintains its role. And I think that's really important just to deliver this message because probably I would choose a PFA, the pulse field ablation, for much more complex clinical presentation like long-lasting persistent atrial fibrillation, where we know that we need to ablate much more. And PFA, can give us, more flexibility, especially concerning the safety profile of the technology.
Yeah, as a head of this division, you are seeing a lot of patients coming with very diverse medical backgrounds. How have you been able to address the medical backgrounds here, especially also with the results coming out of the one-stop trial, where you have been looking into patients with or without heart failure, for example, female versus male? Is this directly influencing the way you are treating patients here at the Cardiological Monsignor?
Oh yes, absolutely. I mean, I think that for example, if I need to treat a very young patient with a atrial fibrillation, regardless men or women, usually I would pick up cryo because it's fast, easy, and the nice thing about cryo is the fact that we have robust data collected over almost 20 years. So I think that we can offer a very safe and successful procedure to patients with atrial fibrillation, and I think this is something that will be in the field for many years from now on, because I mean cryo is still active in our daily activity.
I've heard that you have a special relationship to football. That's why I try to come properly dressed, as good as possible. What is this type of relationship you have?
Well, I appreciate your scarf. I mean, just very, similar to mine. Yes, I mean, I am, really a fan of the Inter Milan team. But right now, I mean, I must say I'm, the cardiologist of the team.
Okay. If you're not in the cath lab, or if you're not in the gym, what else are you doing? Are there any specific hobbies you have?
For sure, reading. And I'm, really fond of philosophy, history, and obviously also I like just to appreciate art, cultures, and the museums. So this is, what I really enjoy the most.
And at one point in time, you told me that becoming a physician was one of your biggest dreams, your dream number one. If you would not have been become a physician, what would you have been becoming then?
It's really funny, but I would love just to be a diplomat, and maybe one day an ambassador. So having the chance to meet, people, cultures, and do a really good job, for my country. This, would have been really my second dream in my life. Maybe it's too late right now, obviously.
So also very international.
Very international, right? And this is, what, I always loved in my life, just, having an international exposure with people.
Maybe a question of interest for those that are just at the beginning of their career. If we would be, and it's a challenging question, if we would be looking into a glass bowl, how do you see AF ablation going to look like in 3 to 5 years?
I'm pretty sure that, PFA will, grow more intensely. On the other hand, you need just to take into account that we have many EP labs, even in the Western countries, in which they are already at the beginning of their own experience. So we can really, transfer. We can just, tutoring them in using, technology like cryo. So I'm pretty sure that yes, PFA will become more and more, extensively used around the world, but still we have to rely on cryo for patients with paroxysmal atrial fibrillation.
So this brings us to the end of the podcast from today. I would like to thank you a lot for all the time this morning. It was great joining you from your way from the gym early in the morning here over to the hospital. Thanks a lot for your time, and thanks a lot for all the insights.
It was a really great pleasure.
Many thanks for joining the podcast today. I'm Ralf Meyer, Director of Medical Affairs at Medtronic Cardiac Ablation Solutions, and you have been watching the Stay Cool podcast. Stay calmo, rimane con esso. Stay cool, stay connected. Thanks a lot. Grazie.